Good morning! It's officially November 1st, or it's officially November, I guess, which is weird. We have 2 months left of this year, hopefully. Maybe this is wishful thinking, but hopefully by 2021, we can all go somewhat back to normal. I know as I'm saying that, that's probably a little bit of delusional thinking, but a girl can dream, right? Sobble this morning was wreaking havoc on our feet. He likes to jump on the bed every morning and play, but he's figured out that the things moving under the sheets are our feet. And so he'll get under the covers and then just go, he'll attack, fully attack our feet, to the point where he drew blood from Ben's foot today. He got a claw in his foot and and it started bleeding, it was bad. So he had to cut his claws today, which was not fun. So I finally finished my edit. It took way longer than I expected, hence why it's dark outside now. It also gets so much darker earlier because of daylight savings. I completely forgot that that's a thing, that happened. I believe it was today. Anyways, I'm pretty sure our clocks go ahead an hour. I think that's how it works for the winter months, which is why we get very little sun. I got a question on my TikTok video. First of all, you guys really want to hear a lot about my next step experiences. I keep coming back to some of the videos I posted where I talk about the next step. Anytime I talk about the next step, they get the most amount of views and the most amount of interaction. So clearly you guys are telling me what you would like to be seeing. So I'm definitely going to be doing more stuff revolving around that. I did a reaction video. Train whenever you can, be very open to rejection, and try and create your own opportunities whenever you can. So that video I posted 3 days ago, but I really like the question because I do get that question quite a bit, especially when I do Q&As and stuff. When I started acting, I had all this experience in dance, and then I had no experience in the world of acting, and the transition was really difficult for me because I didn't have a starting point. I didn't know really where to begin. I just kind of knew that I wanted to do it. I kind of wish I had someone telling me a little bit more of what I should have been focusing on at that time. Anyways, there's a lot of different things that I could get into, but for now, I'm just gonna talk about my experience with transforming myself, I guess, from a dancer into an actor. So the first thing I did that really helped me was I trained, and I mentioned that in the TikTok video. Train as much as you can. Whenever you have a few months off, or you know that you're not really booking that much, or maybe you're not even auditioning that much, it could be because you're just maybe a little rusty. Maybe it's been a while since you've taken a class. So I always find drop-in classes in the city. If I'm not familiar with the class I want to take, I just do some research. I look up different classes. By now, I know, the classes that are my favorites, and I know which class is going to give me a certain result in terms of what I need to work on. You want to think of going to your acting classes in the same way as you would go to the gym. It's just for training. It's for consistent practice of being able to take a script and perform it in front of people or in front of a camera. Even if you've done it before, it can be something that still sort of stifles you and gets you nervous and blocks you from actually letting loose and being as creative and free and surrendering to the moment as much as possible. So that's thing number one. If you don't have any training, get some training. But the thing that really sort of shifted my perspective was the audition process, and not focusing so much on perfecting it, but instead focusing on having fun with it and letting go a little bit more and allowing it to be sort of an experimental opportunity, so that you can really get out of that headspace of being comfortable is only when you can perform. You should be able to perform in an uncomfortable setting as well. And that's where the skill of surrendering to the moment and allowing the performance to kind of take a life of its own, even if it goes in a different direction than you had planned. Go with what's happening in the moment. Otherwise, it's just gonna be forced and jarring, and we'll be able to tell. We won't believe you. I have tried really hard to focus on my training as number one, creating opportunities for myself as number two. I'll talk about that in a second. And number three is the auditioning, is convincing others that I should be on your project. To me, that is the last thing you should be focusing on, because obviously it's a big part of being an actor, but the more we focus on it and like try to perfect it, the harder it is to accomplish, because we're putting too much pressure on that thing to be that thing to get us the work that we want. Instead, you should be focusing on your training and exploring how you can better yourself as an actor. But the more I think of it as like a secondary thing that's just part of the job, the easier it is to do, because I will just trust whatever instinct I have. I have so much more fun with my auditions, and every time that I sort of let go a little bit more in the audition and I send in a tape to my agent, which is in 2020, that's very much the norm right now, my agent will always come back with, that was a great tape, loved it. Whereas if I'm much more particular about the audition and I overthink it, I usually get notes. That's kind of what I've learned so far. Oh, I forgot about creating opportunities. This is also something that has saved me, especially in 2020. As a lot of you guys may know, me and Brennan Klost, we live in the same apartment building. And during quarantine, we decided to create this mini web series called Australian Airs that we thought about probably a year ago, but we never actually got into making it because we didn't have the time really. However, because we had the time, there was nothing else to do. We were kind of forced into it. We forced ourselves into creating these fun opportunities. And so it was the most fun that I've ever had. And I had auditions in that time as well, but I could not even tell you what the auditions were for. I don't remember them. And here's the crazy thing. When we dropped that first episode, I have never had so many people who I respect in this industry reach out to us and say, hey, this is hilarious, we would really enjoy this. And that really meant something to me. It was a huge telltale sign that we should be really focusing on creating these shows and building them up and maybe getting them made. If this is the reaction we get when we don't really put that much, we put a lot of effort in, but we don't put any money into it. What happens if we put a little bit more money into it? What happens if we get a lot more experts on board to help us with this process? I think it could be really good. It made me realize that I should just be creating and just trying to tell as many of my own stories as I can, not just trying to book jobs and tell other people's stories. And so I'm hoping that if you're out there and you're an actor and you want to get into writing scripts and you've never done it before, just start, just try. There's a lot of online classes you can take. I think that it's kind of impossible to give yourself any excuse that should actually prevent you from doing the thing that you want to be doing. So anyways, that's my little rant on my journey through acting and the things that I'm working on now that I'm hoping I will see results for later on.